Whether the United States will remain a superpower is a question millions of Americans are deeply concerned about. David M. Walker served as the Comptroller General of the United States for 10 years in the Government Accountability Office, or the GAO. The Comptroller General has the responsibility of auditing the financials of the United States Treasury and the Office of Management and Budget, or OMB. So, if anyone has an understanding of the challenges of government overspend, David is the man. He is a highly respected public servant and a Hall of Fame accountant known for his ongoing nonpartisan campaign for government fiscal responsibility. David has a new book out entitled America in 2040, Still a Superpower? He challenges readers to ask if the current trajectory of U.S. government overspending and our massive deficit are too much for us to regain control to achieve efficiency and fiscal responsibility. I'm Damon Davis, and this is my Discovery Diary with the Honorable David M. Walker. Really good to see you, David. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to see you, Damon. Good to be with you.
Well, I'm really glad that you're here with me today. I wanted to, first of all, thank you for your book. I got it right here. It is America in 2040, Still a Superpower, question mark. And I'm going to ask you to answer that later, but I wanted to get to a couple of questions first. One of the things that I'm really enamored with your work is that it's bipartisan. It is not something that you focus on party lines. You're strictly about the numbers as an accountant. And you've stated publicly that our government is continuing to spend a massive amount. We've got huge deficits, not really any plan for reducing these deficits. And I'm curious to know, what do you see as what this current environment is like? We're going to, again, get to the question of the book in a minute, but tell me what you're seeing in our current environment in terms of our fiscal irresponsibility and how you think we can move forward.
Well, in my view, Damon, the government has grown too big, promised too much, subsidized too many, lost control of the budget, undercut states' rights, does not have a strategic plan, is not managed for outcome-based results, has thousands of non-integrated information systems that in some cases have inadequate security. And other than that, things are going okay. But I mean, but the bottom line is we are running deficits of $5.5 billion a day. Our debt as a percentage of the economy is too high. The second biggest expense in the budget is interest, for which you get nothing. And we're on path that it's going to exceed Social Security in the not too distant future if we don't change course. So we're not in good shape. We need to make tough choices. DOGE, which is the item of du jour, can make a modest down payment in what we need to do, but the tough stuff is going to require legislation, and it's going to require a statutory commission. And ultimately, we're going to need a constitutional amendment that will limit how much debt as a percentage of the economy we can take on, because only that can bind current and future Congresses.
Yeah, I think the challenge we have is there is no limit whatsoever. And if you can just keep erasing and rewriting a new number on the end, you've got no bounds for what you can spend, and therefore your deficit is going to be extremely high. As a matter of fact, I went on a website recently and I looked up the federal deficit, and one of the numbers that comes up underneath is what that equates to per person. And I was surprised to know that my debt on the United States government's outstanding balance is $107,000.
Oh, and by the way, Damon, that is a lowball number, and let me explain why that's a lowball number. Okay, number one, that's every man, woman, and child in the United States. Okay, including newborn babies. Secondly, the more relevant number would be per taxpayer. And of the people who are earning income, who file individual tax returns, over 40% pay zero income tax. 20% get money back, not only pay zero income tax, but get money back through an earned income tax credit or child care tax credit. And in addition to that, the $36 trillion number, in which the $107,000 per person is calculated, doesn't count roughly $90 trillion in unfunded Social Security, Medicare, and other obligations. Well, the bottom line is that is just the tip of the iceberg.
Wow, you really got to be your own fiscally responsible individual because the government is not going to be in a position to take care of you. And in many cases, nor should it, right?
And you
Um,
shouldn't follow the bad example of the federal government in running your own personal finance.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Imagine if you could equate that, multiple trillion-dollar deficit down to one person's individual income. I mean, it's just absolutely surreal. I guess the next thing I would love to talk to you about, as you've said, the topic du jour is DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And
It's an oxymoron, but that's okay. Go ahead.
right. I guess, one of the things that you've said before was that Bill Clinton, I believe he was our 42nd president, was one of the most fiscally responsible. And now we're at our 47th, the 20 plus years later with Donald Trump. I'm curious to know, what do you see in terms of what fiscal responsibility is currently looking like from your point of view?
It doesn't look good right now. And basically, several things. We're running a deficit of 5.5 billion a day.
Right.
DOGE, I think, is much needed and long overdue. I think it can help save several $100 billion a year if it goes about it the right way. But I think it's not just what you do, but how you do it. I don't think that they're being targeted enough. I don't think they're being transparent enough. And that people also need to understand that only Congress can cut spending. The executive branch can come up with things that they want to cancel this contract or cancel that contract or whatever, but only Congress can cut spending. They can ask the Congress to cut spending with stuff they're coming up with, but Congress has to act. And no matter what DOGE ends up doing, the tough stuff is going to take legislation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and everything is going to have to be on the table. Social insurance programs, revenues, defense and other spending. Everything's not equal, but everything's going to have to be on the table because the gap is too great to play nip and tuck. We need reconstructive surgery, dramatic
Yeah.
reconstructive surgery, not nip and tuck.
That's a wonderful way to put it. And it's clear that systemic change is needed. You don't just get into a deficit such as this by accident. But I guess I'm curious to know, you said something interesting, that DOGE is doing the right thing, but you're not a fan, it sounded like, of how they're going about it. Can you
No.
elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not targeted enough with regard to what they're trying to do, and they're not transparent enough as to what they're doing, how they're doing it, where they're doing it, who's doing it, and what type of backgrounds these people have, what they're doing to prevent conflicts of interest. I mean, those are examples. I think both sides, both the proponents of DOGE and the opponents of DOGE, are using language that's inappropriate. DOGE is characterizing a lot of what they're finding as fraud, whereas it's more accurately characterized, I think, as waste, abuse, or mismanagement.
Mm-hmm.
And the opponents of DOGE are alleging that what DOGE is doing is illegal or unconstitutional. They don't have any basis for that either. The combination of that means that we're further undercutting confidence in government, and we're further spoiling the waters between the Republicans and the Democrats to be able to deal with the really tough things that will require legislation.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the final question then is the one on the front of the cover. Is America a superpower in 2040 by your view?
The answer is yes, if we adopt a lot of the recommendations in the book, and maybe no if we don't. So that's why you need to read the book.
I hope you will go back into government and take control of some of these things so we can get it done the right way. David Walker, thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Damon, and safe travels back to Maryland.
Thank you.